All right, guys, so what's up? Thank you for clicking on the video. So this one's just going to be a bit of a discussion about some things, answering some questions that I've seen online, kind of responding to some things that people seem confused about when it comes to the headlight kit. I'm also going to be talking about KnightDriveTV in 2022, some of the plans that I have, timelines for things, difficulties I'm having, and successes that we've had. I'm going to kind of give you a summation of the year of 2021 with KnightDriveTV. Also, I'm going to talk about the plans that I have for this car specifically, not just in terms of part development, but actually what I'm going to be doing with this car and what kind of content you can expect to see on that. And then I'm going to be talking a little bit about the other things that I kind of am targeting to have going on around the channel, things like Dream Racing, the series that I'm doing out there, and trying to work with them and build the channel itself. So we're going to talk about just a bunch of different things. It's just going to be a one-take deal. The point of it is for me to not have to do much editing and be able to answer a lot of your questions. So lots in this one. And as you can see, look at this. I mean, some people may not know the beauty of these things here behind me, but Volk TE37s on a Corvette, concave face, 18 by 11 square setup with 315s all around. Oh man, so juicy. Stick around. You're watching KnightDriveTV.
I always wanted to build fast cars, so self-taught I started with engine swaps, composites in my apartment to multiple shops, tuning, fabrication, and more. 10 years later, the big time, SEMA, Speed TV, I climbed from nothing, but I lost it all. This is my new ride, KnightDriveTV.
Night drivers and drivettes.
Alrighty, so one of the things that I have just repeatedly been seeing, and I'm just going to clear up right now, is the function of the headlights. This is obviously, I've sold a lot of these headlights. We'll talk about that in a second, but let me go through the functions and just once and for all show you how they work, how they light up. Yes, they go up and down. Watch. Here we go. Here we go. All right, so this is turning the headlights on. That's the low beam. That's the parking lights. So you have the halo function with parking lights. The lights remain open. Back to low beam. Now with the relay that I include in the kit, when you turn on high beams, you get all of them. So that's all 6 on. And again, low beam. Due to the low amp draw of LEDs, you have to go into high beam and then off, and they retract. Alrighty, so hopefully that clears the function questions up completely. So let's just keep staying on the headlights for now. So obviously I launched these headlights in January of 2021. A lot of people who pre-bought in January, February, March, April, they were basically waiting for me to scale up, finish design details. I went modular, so I actually redesigned the entire kit multiple times after I'd launched the pre-buy. At that point, a lot of people had a lot of faith and said, oh boy, we're going to see if KnightDriveTV comes through, if Damien could do this. So yeah, it was tough through COVID and through obviously a lot of the situations that were happening with shipping delays. I also ran into some printing problems, and I will tell you now that everybody's safe and secure, it was very sketchy. And you know, sketchy in the sense that I knew I would solve it, but it was just a lot of pressure. So basically, after the delays with lights that I had through January, February, and March, some of you are familiar with, I had to switch suppliers. What ended up happening next was I went to a modular design to where I wanted to be able to adapt other headlights, other lighting units to this. So this is a modular setup. So the squares, some people like them. A lot of people like them, but some people don't. And they said, hey, you know, I might entertain something else. So that kit itself is designed to accept a bunch of other lights that I have coming, and they're going to have different functions, different appearances, and things like that. Maybe even different opening heights. I'm not quite sure. I'm testing right now, but I am releasing another adaptation of this here shortly. So that's kind of the intent that I always had, is to have multiple designs. Well, when I was doing that modularity, I did it for multiple reasons. I didn't want to make one whole piece because I was having a failure rate. If that print failed at 25 hours or 30 hours, the whole thing was basically a failure at that point, and I had to restart. So I had about 17 machines running at that time. They were Chinese-based Ender 3s, highly modified, and basically just ran with those. But between the leveling issues, even though I was upgrading everything from the extruder mechanisms, the Capricorn tube for heat, I was putting bushings under the plates. I was using custom bed plates that were textured. I did all kind of adhesion different experiments, even really getting down to the point of really tweaking the software for E-steps and just making sure everything was as good as possible. I could not get consistency out of those Enders, at least across a span of 17 machines. It was a full-time job.
Well, this is where the hard times occur. Empty, 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 broken, broken. So this is just in this one line. I have to fix all these machines. It don't take too long, but this is when things get tough.
When I was building prototypes in the early stage, when I was preparing for the beta group, it was a full-time job just to keep the machines running. My failure rates were probably 30%. So as I approached May and into June, I knew I had to make some type of transition. And so that's when I really, I looked around the market as to what I could potentially use. And I experimented with any cubic machines, Sunfly, Free Sun, I don't know, some other Chinese maker that had a leveling system built into it. And I think a variation of a couple machines that were like Ender 3s. I just, nothing worked. And I went to Prusa. So Prusa Mark III, well, actually they're Prusa Mini pluses, I should say, is what I ended up with. So now I now have 20 Prusa Mini pluses, and I have about 20 Enders of CR10s and Ender 3s. So they are sitting aside. They're going to go into like a prototype duty. They're better with PLA, but basically I have all Prusas building these kits. And so that was the transition, honestly, that saved the entire thing, because it would have been very difficult if I would have stuck on that path and committed to the fact that I had so many machines. That was a big investment. It was an investment that I made based on the pre-buy income. So I'm faced with the fact that I have a huge investment of machines, and basically I had to pivot my entire plan very close to the time that I was already saying the kits were going to be coming out. So that was a critical decision I had to make, and I made it as rapidly as I could after I had really exhausted what I felt like was all I could do, reasonably speaking, to get the Enders to work like I needed. So totally glad I did it, because there was just so many things that worked so well with those Prusas. And quite frankly, I was putting almost $450 into the Enders after modifying them and doing all the tweaks and time. And that's pretty much the same price as the Prusa Minis. So it was the situation, it was the move that saved everything, at least to the point that it accelerated and allowed me to get shipping. So those run 24/7. They have very little problems. I mean, I have a low failure rate, and the consistency is fantastic. I have a little bit of tweaks that I do to them, just very minor, because they're just so good out of the box. So that was the huge thing that saved everything. So basically, at the point in August, September, the headlights, they started shipping, and we have consistently held about a 12-week lead time at this point. We caught up. We got everybody shipped, all those bulk from January, February, March. Huge amount to get, well, huge amount when you were considering we hand build these, we wire them in-house. We build 40 kits a week, and 16 machines is what it takes running 24/7 to build 40 kits per week. So in the design that I have. And Zach, obviously my brother, he wires them all. And so keeping supply up, keeping all the details, there's about 52 components to what it takes to build the headlights. It was a lot, and it was a lot to get through the holiday season and things like that, and actually keep all the shipping supply chains intact. And it was really close. It was a lot of work. And so I was just, I really wanted to push the end of the year. And I think we shipped everybody up until early September. So that was a huge accomplishment. And I was just very happy, when we had taken all those orders, through the first 2 quarters of the year. I just can't say how much I appreciate everybody that stuck with me through that. I did end up refunding probably $12,000 worth of orders across that span of time. And I did that because I can't say there were a lot of people that, were upset about the wait. I don't think there were really any. It was mostly people selling their cars because the market was shifting, and then some people wrecking their cars, unfortunately. So not many people, really had any issue. They obviously asked for updates, and I tried to give those updates as much as possible on KnightDriveTV's Corvette group on Facebook. So, but yeah, I did refund probably $12,000 worth of people. So now that kind of concludes, I guess, the development ride, and I can get into more detail, and I am going to get into more detail, and I'm going to tell you about how and where here shortly. So stick around for that. So I just want to wrap up on the headlight thing. The bezels, obviously everybody's asking about the bezels. So the bezels, as I have spoken about the bezels, I really wanted to do a modular design, but coming back from Christmas and getting into January, I rearranged everything in the house, because I make everything out of the house here. We have all these machines running 24/7. Costs about $95 a month in electricity, so that's a big surprise, not much. But I really am crunched for space. Space is a big problem for me right now. I can't really scale any further. And so it worries me a bit to get into additional products and other headlight kits without having really more room. So this is something that I'm really looking at. And this is something I'm going to talk about here shortly as it pertains to the channel and growth in the future. So please just jump ahead for that. So essentially the bezels, I talked about the modular design that I'm working on. I am close to that, but the issue is I have 16 Prusa machines running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to build 40 kits with maybe 1 or 2 kit excess. And so that's all the capacity they have. That's me running them 24/7. I use probably, I would say 35 spools of filament every 2 weeks. So I have about 70 spools of filament coming just per month for that. So, it's to build the bezels, I need more machine capacity. The issue there is that the machines are on back order. I have them ordered, and I've had them ordered for quite some time. So that's kind of an issue that's holding up the bezels. Once I kind of finalize how I want to do them, I have a process that I'm working on that this is a big deal. And I'm going to tell you, when it comes to making components, fenders, bumper parts, I mean, just a lot of things. I've been working on a process that nobody's done before, and I can tell you it has not been done that I've seen. And I really don't want to say anything about how I'm doing it. It was a lot of experimentation and a lot of kind of thinking about how I can produce something rapidly in this manner, but do it in a larger scale. And I can't say anything about it, because the headlights people, and this is another issue that I'm going to talk about, the people claiming this is a copycat deal and I stole from them, and these whiny young dudes that think that, I've been in the auto industry for 20 years and think that I have to steal something from them when I've been doing this since 1998. The moment I was an adult, I started building cars, going to SEMA since 2010. Obviously, my integration in the automotive world, I don't need to steal ideas from little kids drifting cars and making videos in their garage. So I make videos in this garage now because I've already had multiple manufacturing companies and multiple shops in my history. So it's laughable, quite honestly, that, look, these lights were on the market. Anybody could have bought them. And if you had that same idea, well, fantastic. I mean, great minds, I guess, think alike. To say that I copied off of someone is foolish. I don't copy off people. So that's just, I don't even like responding to that comment because it's absurd. I'm all about originality. I obviously designed everything on my own, and I've always done that. So, and that's just shown in my history, and I don't show a lot of my history through the video. But anyway, I don't want to get into the copy BS, but that's how it applies to the process that I'm doing for components like body panels and things like that. I don't want to tell anybody how I'm doing it, what I'm doing. I don't even want to hint at it because, I just feel like, people, there's just this little crew out there, and there's always going to be this crew of people that want to hate or want to do something. So I'm not going to get into it, but that's what I'm kind of working on, and I just don't want to talk anymore about it. So it's coming. And there will be some people that can have access to that information. Again, I'm going to tell you in a second. So as far as the headlights go, what is the focus on future kits? There is a fixed light kit coming. There's a lot of people that have the frog eyes, and I feel for them. Obviously, the C5R was the inspiration for that, and it looked great 10, I guess, 15 years ago. But on stock cars, on cars that are not highly modified, they just, in my opinion, they don't look very good, and especially the chrome ones. And they to me, they look like, somebody with their eyelids cut off. I just can't stand them. And, you know, to each his own. If you love them, great. I think they're hideous. And so, you know, it really compels me to make a headlight kit. So here comes the copy. Oh, he copied, blah, blah, blah. Let's get out the tissues. Let me make clear, and I'm going to put it on the screen. I am going to edit this part. I was in the import world for very long. That was my foundation in 1998. I actually had an F-body. This is my first and third car, but I got into Hondas, imports, DSMs, Nissans, all that stuff in the late 90s. And so naturally, RE and EMEA, R Magic, companies, Top Secret, Signal Auto, there were companies, Veilside and things like that. There were companies in Japan that modified FD RX-7s. This is not a hard translation to come up with. FD RX-7s had a headlight conversion that everybody liked. And I think it's a good approach for this car. I'm going to do something different. Now, somebody did show some renderings recently that uses a very similar light, what you've seen me use and implement maybe into this kit coming up that adapts to the Sleepy Eye kit. I'm going to use those in that kit because I like the control of them, and the company that supplies me lights is working with me on functions that I want within those lights. It is going to be different. So it's not copying off of some 25-year-old guy that's into Corvettes that thinks he invented something. I'm going off of merely what was being done in the 90s. So, you know, this is not reinvention, this is evolution. So as far as that goes, that's what's coming. I have focus on the fixed light kit, and I have focus on tail lights. Corner lights, we have a lot of things going on. I just can't show any of that right now for a couple reasons, and I'll talk about that soon. Next thing. So let me talk about KnightDriveTV and the future of KnightDriveTV here. My objective this year is to really grow the channel and do more videos. I have entertained, and I am really giving some thought to a membership for the channel. And when it came to the membership, I wanted to think about how I can basically create a structure to where there's a consistency of income from this channel itself that can allow me to get a commercial space and expand the entire company. In thinking about how I wanted to do that, I'm like, well, you know, this isn't GoFundMe. I don't want people to hand me money just for the sake of doing it. I want to give them a return on their investment. I want to give them something in return for doing that. So with channel memberships, I'm going to basically show multiple tiers. There's going to be 4 tiers to it. And basically, there's going to be discounts associated when it comes to parts and products that I produce. And they're going to scale up, basically, however much you spend per month. And it starts at like $3.99. There's a $10 level, I think a 40 and a 90, something like that. So some people may say, oh my God, that's ridiculous. I'm not giving any YouTube channel, blah, 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 whatever you want to think. But, you know, I have multiplied those amounts per, you know, over a period of months. And if you are interested in the products that I produce, there's enough discount there that you will recoup all of that. So it's kind of like a pay-in system that if you have faith, now I've shown we've done a pre-buy, I've launched and delivered the product, then we can do something like that. So that's coming. Next phase there is basically that I want to do specifically with this car, Cam S, and I want to develop the wide body. That's something I want to do after I get these headlights done and things like that. So the wide body is going to come. I've wanted to do this so long, and again, the copy thing is going to come out and crybabies, and oh my God, I did a wide body on this car in 2013. I got flamed off of the Corvette forum for it. So, and I really wasn't ready. I relocated a couple times around the country between 2013 and 2018. So, you know, basically I foamed a kit, and I basically used a foam backing and was going to clay over with Chavant clay and then pull molds. I ended up moving, so I pulled that off. Redid it in all clay in 2017 with an evolved design. Ended up losing the building I was in, got sold, and so I had to vacate. So then I used that opportunity. I went down the road for a couple months and ended up moving to Vegas. So a couple times have gone by. In that period, I've thought about some other things I want to do. The wide body, a lot of the things, I want them to be functional. I don't want it, it's not hot boy, super wide bodies. It's things that look accentuating to the car, but are also functional, allow a square setup, 315, that's what I want to do, or 315, 335 in the back, things like that. So yeah, I definitely, that's a big objective for this car. And then I want to run it through KMS and do more track days and really validate it and just have a good time with the car, because I haven't been driving it, quite frankly. So So guys, that's the first kind of one take that I'm going to do. I'm probably going to do this every week. I'm going to try and gather up some of your questions and things like that, and just try to answer a lot of the things that people tend to repeatedly ask me about, you know, through the group, through email. I get messages from all directions. So, you know, it's hard to manage, but it's something that I'm committed to because, you know, years ago when I had shops, and I've been in this game a long time. So, I mean, from the early forums in 2001 when forums were everything, I advertised on forums. I manufactured header systems for turbo and forced induction. Obviously, I did a lot of one-off kits. I did a lot of TIG fabrication, intake manifolds, tuning. I had a chassis dyno. So, you know, as I did that stuff, I've taken the blows. Believe me, I've been involved in all kind of controversy with other shops. And, you know, I was a younger guy, and, you know, there's a lot to learn in business, and I've learned many lessons, trust me. So this is not my first time. So believe me, a lot of the reasons that I was able to get through everything, especially in this, you know, situation, globally, it was just because I've really learned a lot over time, and I anticipate a lot of things. And the Facebook group was a big part of it. I knew that once everybody had done a commitment to KnightDriveTV and invested in the growth and waiting for this product, I knew I needed a real established line of communication with everyone beyond email and beyond these videos. So I have over 1,200 people in that group at this point. So it's a great way to basically connect with me directly. If you have any questions, if you've ordered a kit and you're waiting, that's a great place to go. And like I said, we're going to kind of start to tier this in a manner that makes communication even easier. And I'm looking forward to the memberships and things like that. And I'm going to talk about that probably in a dedicated video. This is kind of a preview. And if you think it's a terrible idea, go ahead and tell me that. Last things last, you know, I've been exercising. I'm on a weight loss determination route here. I'm focused on weight loss, and I've actually been working out more. I need to, this whole COVID thing has not been good to me. So that's a big focus. And so hopefully you see me standing up on camera here, because I'm tired of looking at myself, trust me. So I look at it, I'm like, oh God, these people, you know, I gotta, you know, weight reduction. I'm getting, you know, anti-gravity lithium batteries that take 20 pounds out, you know, and I can weight reduce about 60 myself. So yeah, all those things are good. So that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please sub and comment, obviously, and communicate with me. I try to do the best I can to talk to everyone, but I really appreciate your involvement with KnightDriveTV, and I am totally looking forward to 2022. I'm just really hoping we can do a lot of things this year, a lot more than just one product. I want to put out like 10. I really need some space. I really need to grow, and so that's what it's going to take. So I'll catch you on the next one.